If we discuss the ROM, read-only memory, that is also divided into different types available. That also different types ROM available. One is the PROM, another is the EPROM, another is the double EPROM. So, PROM stands for the programmable, EPROM stands for erasable programmable read-only memory, and double EPROM stands for the electrical erasable programmable read-only memory. Generally, the ROM, PROM, EPROM, so these are the non-volatile memory in nature. So next I will discuss the secondary memory. Secondary memory or the auxiliary memory. Secondary memory or auxiliary memory. So the secondary memory or the auxiliary memory are non-volatile in nature. Non-volatile in nature because the human beings also use the two types of memory. That is the primary memory, that is the brain. Another is the secondary memory, EGFR. So to preserve data in the brain, so always our nerve system is working, so it will preserve data in our memory. So similarly, the computer uses the two types of memory. One is the primary memory and the secondary memory. Also, secondary memory sometimes called as auxiliary memory. So auxiliary memory are nature in non-volatile. So once for the accessing data, power supply is required. Once data is stored in secondary memory, so power supply is not required, and data will store for a long time. So some secondary memory we can use. Also the secondary memory's capacity are more than the primary memory. We can use the different type of secondary memory. Some secondary memories are hard disk, floppy disk, pen drive, CD-ROM, DVD, magnetic disk, optical disk, memory card. So every and each computer use the hard disk. So and every hard disk, its capacity is now 500 GB to 4 TB. But the primary memory capacity is, that is the RAM capacity is 1 GB to 2 GB. So therefore, the primary memory RAM capacity is very less than the secondary memory. So therefore, we can store the large amount of data as well as the instructions in the secondary storage device permanently. But that is not possible for the storing in the primary memory. So every computer has a hard disk. So if you describe the structure of the hard disk, so in the hard disk, so there is a different type of cylinders are there, different type of plates are there, and upper and lower plates are coated by the magnetic surface. So in the upper and lower surface contains some invisible circles. So these invisible circles called as a track. Again, further we can define is circles, individual circles in the number of tracks, number of tracks, number of tracks. So this is the is called as a track. Each track divided into number of divisions, and data will store in the magnetic form. So there is some motor are there, and every cylinder contains some rewrite head. So this motor rotates all the magnetic cylinders very speedily. At the time of rotation, so this read data as well as write data from the track and the sector of the. So this area called as a sector. So data will store in the track of the sector of the surface of the disk, and read data and write data from the track as well as sector of the hard disk. So normally it is a mass storage device. We can store the huge amount of data as well as instruction in hard disk. So some old disk are there, old secondary storage device are there, is a floppy disk. Now it is not available. So two types of the floppy disk available. One is 3.5 size, another is something 1 point something, two size floppy disk available. One small size is available, another is. So it's very less capacity. So there is a floppy drive. So floppy drive will read data as well as write data from the floppy disk, but now it is not available. So apart from the hard disk and the floppy disk, some other disk is available. One is CD, compact disk. So its capacity is 700 MB. Another disk is available, that is the DVD. Its capacity 3.5 MB, 3.5 GB. So naturally the DVD is the capacity is more than the CD. So the CD writer or the DVD writer, using the CD writer or the DVD writer, we can read data as well as write data from DVD or the CD. So another, for the backup purposes, we can use the magnetic tape. Another disk you can use the magnetic tape. So magnetic tape is one of the secondary storage device. Naturally, it is used for the backup purposes. So in the magnetic disk, in the magnetic tape, so there is a one tape, and this tape is coated with magnetic, and so there is a magnetic driver are there, magnetic tape driver. Tape driver and the drive. So through the magnetic tape drive, we can read data as well as write data from the magnetic tape. So another memory is the cache memory. So cache memory is a. So another memory apart from the primary memory and the secondary memory, Another memory is there called as a cache memory. So cache memory is a very high speed than the RAM as well as the secondary memories. So these are the made in the semiconductor memory, which can be speedy up the CPU. It acts as the buffer between the CPU and the main memory. It is used to hold those data, those part of the data and the programs which are the most frequently used by the CPU. The part of the data and the programs are transferred from the disk to cache memory by the operating system, from where the CPU can be accessed. So apart from the cache memory, so another memory is there, so that is called as a register. So another memory is there called as a register. So register are the volatile memory and the temporary memory. It is the place between the CPU and this is the register. So this is the main memory, it is called as a RAM. So register placed between the CPU and a RAM, it is very faster memory. So because CPU work very fast, as per the requirement of the CPU, it will retrieve data from the RAM and store in the register, and the whatever data are available in the RAM used by the CPU. So different type of registers are available. One is the memory address register, MAR, that is called as a memory address register. Memory address register. Another is the PC, program counter. Program counter. So different type of registers are available, and memory address registers contain the address of the memory whose data required by the CPU. Program counter register keep the track of a program, and it will contain the address of the corresponding program so used by the CPU. So what are the next instruction used by the CPU? That address contained by the program counter. So normally these registers are the very low capacity, but it is accessing is very faster, and it is faster than the RAM as well as the secondary memory. If you overall will discuss, the computer use the mainly three types of memory. One is the primary memory, another is the secondary memory, so another is the cache memory. So primary memory are more faster than the secondary memory, but the cache memory is more and more faster than the RAM and the secondary memory. But the primary memory and the cache memory is a limited capacity, but the secondary memory is a high capacity. We can store the huge amount of data as well as the instruction in the secondary memory. Again, the most of the primary memory are the volatile in nature, but the almost all secondary memory are the non-volatile in nature. So again, if you discuss the RAM, again further if you discuss the primary memory RAM, random access memory, so this RAM will divide into number of cells. Again, collection of organized cell is called as a word. And every word or every cell has a unique address. So that address vary from 0 to n-1. Assume, and every address has a opcode and operand. Opcode, operand. or value or address. So in the value area, so value will vary. Value will vary, but the address is fixed. Address is fixed. Address is fixed, so that is the 0 to n minus 1, depending on the word size of the memory, word size of the operating systems. So normally that vary from the 0 to n minus 1. So overall we can complete these chapters. So primary memory is very less capacity and the very high speed, but it is not high than the cache memory, and the secondary memory has the very low speed than the primary memory, but contain the high capacity. But most of the primary memory are the non-volatile in nature, but almost all the secondary memories are non-volatile in nature, but the primary are the volatile in nature.